there we go, send it out later. And for those who haven't joined us yet. Okay, welcome to Nearpod. Awesome. We're going to stand out with Nearpod. Here are the standard welcome slides, but I wanted a cool turtle. Okay, so we're going to dive into the 3-part lesson plan formula. And I know my audience is a lot of teachers who have been teaching for a very long time. So lesson planning, like we know how to lesson plan. So it's really, we're going to dive into 3 things I like to include in every lesson plan to make sure they are engaging from start to finish and getting our students coming back to our classes. We want them to come back because we're, different than classroom teachers where students are stuck with us for a year. Our online students can leave whenever they want. So we want to really make sure they can come and back and excited too. We're going to dive into top 5 Nearpod elements. You will see other elements. I'm going to be using them in my classroom. And if you have any questions about those, please feel free to answer or ask them, because I really want to give you a good idea of a full use of lesson, but I will really dive into the top 5 you can use in any lesson, any subject. I didn't ask, what do you like to teach on OutSchool?
I teach kinder, phonics, early literacy type stuff.
Okay, awesome. So reading. Perfect. Okay. And then we'll dive into using Nearpod in live and self-paced classes. There are a couple different features there. And 3 things we definitely need to know when teaching live and self-paced classes. And by the end, we're going to feel confident with Nearpod and to be able to update any current lessons you have with Nearpod or create something new. And my goal is for you to feel totally confident that you can do that this weekend if you really wanted to. Just dive in and take it. Okay, and we're going to be familiar with teacher, student view. And then at the end, I do want to invite to my coaching program, but that is at the very, very, very end after we get through all the Nearpod stuff. Okay, so formula for engaging lessons. My formula is build, diversify, and gamify. And I believe all of these really work well together to give us those standout lessons that sell out and are engaging and interactive, and we can just impact thousands of students in the online world. And I really dive into my coaching program, but I'll touch on it so it can make sense in the whole scope of Nearpod. So build, that's the part us teachers are familiar with. Building our lesson, we have that objective. What do we need to teach in order to get our lessons or students from point A to point B? What are we teaching? And then I like to add in a hook and a theme to all of my lessons. A hook is something this is something super duper fast, but that's going to engage your learners right off the bat and make them curious about your lessons. So my hook for this lesson was the turtle. A really cool 3D image. That's a really cool Nearpod feature that hopefully you're like, well, this is cool. Like, I can't wait to see what else Nearpod has to offer and how I can use that. Reading, and you can use that turtle in your Nearpod lesson as a hook. Maybe you're reading about turtles. You're practicing your words, you're reading, but it has to do with the theme of turtles. Short sentences, finding vowel patterns with sea creatures or whatnot. So you're theming your lesson with something. So my theme, I really like this, and think of it as not necessarily like I have to teach about something. So for example, I teach math, and it's kind of like, well, how do I include all of these cool things like the space and whatnot? How do I include that? So that then becomes the theme of a lesson. I'm not necessarily teaching about space, but all my word problems can be about space. We can read about space, sentences, fixed grammar in sentences that are just reading about space. So that's the theme, but I'm not necessarily teaching about space. Okay, does that make sense? Like the theme? Perfect. And if you have any questions as I'm going, please just feel free to shout them out whenever. Okay, we're really diving in to diversify this part of our formula. And the diversify is, what are we using to teach our lesson? And you mentioned that you use a couple of them. So Google Slides, Canva, how are we using those tech tools to make our lesson fun and engaging? And we are diving into Nearpod. That's how we're going to diversify. And then gamify, I really always highly recommend adding a game. So there are a couple of games already built into Nearpod that we will play today. And games are just a fantastic way to engage students, get students excited to practice and participate. Okay, so our first element is a video. So I'm going to okay, you should be able to play the video on your device. So this one is a very great activity for self-paced classes. You can use videos in live too, but this one really good for, I'm teaching, my lesson is built right into my Nearpod lesson, and I can add in questions. So go ahead, click play on that video, and there are 2 questions to answer, so you can see the different type of question formats there are. Did the video work? Yes, perfect. And just give me a thumbs up when you've finished with that video. Awesome. Perfect. So interactive videos are super fun. So here's a different way we can use this feature. So with live classes, we can use it before class starts. And this would work really well with like a course type class where you're going to meet several times. You can post just a short video for students to watch as it gets them excited for class, or you can kind of gauge what they know already by having them answer questions. Could be that's the hook for your lesson. What's something super fun you're going to learn, and just kind of share it with that in a lesson before class starts. During class, during a live class, you can show a video clip to a class. Maybe you really want to demonstrate something that's either you're reading about or learning about. You can throw in the video just to show students what it is you're talking about. I'm trying to think. So with kinders, you're reading just super fun stories. Maybe it's about an animal and you're reading about an animal and their habitat. So you just want to show a quick video of that animal in their habitat. And then you can ask questions about the habitat, what they see in that habitat, or whatnot to engage learners. And then self-paced classes, definitely I've used it to record my lessons of me teaching. And then I ask questions and then I pause just for like 5 seconds when I'm recording. And that way I know to stop or put in a question that I want my students to answer. And you can have it where students have to answer before they keep going in the lesson. Like they have to keep going. They can't just skip the questions. So lots of different ways for interactive video. Our second, so this is a collaboration board. So a really cool tool in live classes where students can type in their answer. So I want you to type in either thinking of a current lesson you are teaching or one you want to teach or how you're going to use interactive videos in live or self-paced classes. You can type. There are also options to add a picture or a GIF, or students can record their response as well. So especially really good for the littles. They're not familiar with that keyboard quite yet. It's faster just to record their thoughts. So this puts it up on a board. You can see the board, and during a live class, all student responses will be able to see what each other are writing. So you'll be able to see yours, and I will be able to see yours. And if there were others, we'll be able to see their responses too. So share a thought, quick idea. It doesn't have to be super long. How do you think that you'll use this in your classes? Awesome. You already have good hooks. Perfect. Yep. That's a good idea. Record anything ahead of time, and then you can, during class, spend that time to kind of reflect on what they have watched and get that discussion time in. Really good idea. Okay, this next one is one of my favorites. It's virtual reality. So this image does move with your finger or mouse. Drag it around, look all the way around Greece. I love virtual reality because you can tie it in a couple different ways. So the obvious way, you're teaching about places or vacations and tie in with these images. But we can also tie in this with colors and shapes. So I can send my younger students on an I Spy game. How many colors, or can you see the blue colors? What is blue? Describe what is blue. There's fences, there's doors, the sky, the ocean, lots of blue things. What other colors do you see? What shapes do you see? And you can find this in any kind of image. And for older students, again, what shapes, what angles do you see? What kind of lines do you see? Or you can show this, maybe you read a story or a brief sentence about Greece, and then you can show them a picture of Greece, or show them this picture first, and then your next slide, write something or describe something you saw. So you can, lots of ways you can tie in virtual reality. That makes it super fun. Okay, so we can take our students on a field trip, and there's so many. I've done space. You can find space pictures, the moon, Mars, under the ocean. You can see scuba divers, fish, and lots of different places that you saw. So lots of ways you can tie that in. And then if you have a theme for your class, like we're just reading about animals, you can plug in some animal pictures. I have one that I really like that I've used, and it's a picture of a giraffe in the zoo, but the giraffe head is like super close to the camera. So always like all my students, wow, that's so cool. The giraffe is just super close to us. It's a lot of fun. Okay, our next, I think we're on 3. Okay, and if you want to, I'm not going to make you because I know you are busy, but if you'd like to, again, participate on the collaboration board, how would you implement a virtual reality into a current lesson? Play that I Spy game and find whatever your like the colors, finding anything that starts with the letter A. In this picture, can you find something that starts with the letter A, or a sound? Mia, you are just awesome. Okay, awesome. And there are so many great space ones in virtual reality. There's one where there's an astronaut in space, and he like has lost his wrench. It's flying away from him. You see Earth. It's so cool. I Spy is awesome for virtual reality. They really like it. Or my students. Okay, Time to Climb. This one is a student favorite. They absolutely love Time to Climb. So we're going to, there we go, continue. So to play Time to Climb, you can pick a character on your end, and then as soon as you click a character, join lesson. Perfect. And then on my end, I just always have to make sure all students join. Okay, as you're answering these questions, I really try to throw in different question types so you can see the different options that you have. I have a question where the answers are pictures. Oh, I should have jumped in. Awesome. Okay. All the students, I should have jumped in, but all the students are racing up the mountain, and you can see as you're racing, you will see all other students racing up the mountain. Awesome. And I'm showing different ways, different kinds of questions we can ask. Awesome. And there's one more question. Perfect. As I was thinking of questions, I learned some Spanish because I don't know Spanish, but I'm like, oh, this is so fun. Okay, nice job, Mia. You made it to the top and won. And then all the other students, it will place them on a leaderboard. So they'll be able to see who got second, who got third. That one's really fun. Okay, so Time to Climb ideas, gamified quiz. I love it because it's really good for feedback. So you know what your students are understanding as you go through your lesson, but it makes it fun for them as they are taking that quiz. You can review it, review any concepts you're talking about. Another way you can use it is to play the game, the quiz at the beginning of class. So it piques their interest and it's super fun, but maybe you haven't taught yet. And then play that exact same quiz and the questions at the end. So your students can see how much they've improved at the end of your class. Because maybe at the beginning they weren't able to answer a lot of the questions. And at the end, they were able to answer more. I've used it where we finished the Nearpod lesson, but then we still had like 5 minutes left of class. So we played the exact same Nearpod quiz again. And that's really fun because first time they knew all the answers. Second time around, they definitely know all the answers. So they're really trying to like race each other to see who can win. And it gives another student an opportunity to win first place as well. Okay, so time to climb on this collab board. I want you to find a picture or a GIF that of a reaction you think your students will have when playing Time to Climb. Think they'll love it? Thinks it's, I don't know, being nervous? Do you think it might be hard for them? See if you can find a picture or a GIF. That might be hard. Words if you want to, but I just wanted to give you the option of using the different ways to respond on this board. Okay, I'll wait a couple more seconds and then we'll move on. Don't have a response, totally fine. Oh, so down at the bottom where you type, there's like a picture icon, a video icon, a me microphone, and then there's a GIF button. I'm wondering, there might be.
I see it. I wonder, like it says, you can use different options. I guess I have to download a GIF from online and then drop it in the file box, or I could use some of the others. I just don't really know how to do that right now. But I think
Oh yeah, yeah, totally fine. There should be like you can search GIFs right in here, but if you don't see like the GIF button, I made my screen smaller.
Yeah, once you hit on the GIF button, it shows you to either upload a file or use your Dropbox or Google Chrome or Google Drive, I mean.
Oh yeah. There's at the top of all that, there should be like a search box.
Okay, and I can search it right in there.
Yes, search it right in there. Yep, search
Cool. Okay.
for GIF. Awesome. Okay, perfect. Good question. And all good questions because you're seeing what the students are seeing. So I don't know if I necessarily would ask a kindergartner to do that, but
I just threw one in there real quick to see. Okay.
there you go. Perfect. Yep. No, this is perfect because we want to be able to use it because your students might have the same question. Well, how do I add a GIF? And now you can explain to them how to do that. So that's a great question. Okay. Yay. I would have added the same GIF. My students absolutely love it. Okay, draw it ideas. Did I skip that slide? Maybe, oh, they might be the wrong order. Okay, let me share different because I had it in the wrong order. Okay, draw slides are really fun. And this one's a really fun one for students because there are, again, lots of different options. So you have at the bottom of your screen a tool kit. You have a pen and a highlighter. You can also type on the screen. And again, you can add a GIF and pictures as well. So for draw slides, think of really anything. So the background I created myself, but it could be maybe a sentence or a paragraph, and you want students to highlight all the words or circle all the words with a certain vowel pattern or circle the grammar mistakes. Or maybe you have words written, but the vowel is missing. So like cat, dog, but the vowel is missing. And you want your students to write the vowel with the pen tool. You could have a picture of a maze with, I think like capital letter, lowercase letter. They have to find each other through the maze. But then maybe you have, I don't know, certain letters written around. So they just have to connect and match all the right letters to help them get out of the maze. This draw is so fun because the options are limitless on what they could do. So again, they can text for older students, they can type answers if there's, they can write anything you want them to do. Okay, back to this one. So different draw ideas. Oh, it's like trace letters or words. That one might be really good for your learners. Have that dotted letter A. They can trace the letter A, and then maybe they can draw something that starts with A. Or you have a picture of something that starts an alligator, and then you can have, I don't know what they called, like the lines you write on. They can write the letter A within those lines. A coloring page, you can upload a black and white picture and then quick brain break. They're coloring something. Maybe you give them a minute to color something and then you move on to the next slide. Underline, circle words, numbers, key information in word problems, story problems, key details of any passages you're reading, math problems, they can show their work. You can ask for feedback. So how are they feeling about the topic? Do they think they got it? Maybe they want some more practice with it. Landforms, anything. Okay. And then draw it. I hope I gave some good ideas, or at least a lot of ideas, because there's so many ways. So how do you think your students would like to use this? All of my students draw. They pick draw over all of the tools they want to draw. I do have some students who decide to type answers. I've used it to definitely show our work. So underline like the numbers in a word problem and then writing out the problem and then showing our work how they can do it. Yeah, yep, awesome. And with this, I will show you, but you can see absolutely what all of your students are drawing at the same time. So you can, Susie, is not drawing anything, so you can check up on her, make sure it's all working or give her ideas because, she hasn't done anything yet. Or you can start, compliment. Oh, I really like this picture so-and-so's drawing, because you can see all of them. So I do like this feature a lot in all of my lessons. Okay. The last one, this is a matching game. So if you can match it, it can be in a matching game. And I tried to show you all the different ways you can kind of put together a matching. So just click on two matches you think they are. You just have to click on, if you're doing 5 times 4 first, click on that one, and then click on that one you think is a match. And it will be green. You know you've got a match right away because you'll see that green check mark. And if it's wrong, you'll know immediately because it will turn red and you can try again. So as you're matching, we have some words and definitions here. Problem equation, capital letter, lowercase letter. And the ones written, so Thomas Jefferson, 5 times 4, those are written right inside of Nearpod. You can type whatever you want to match. The pictures I searched, like the picture of the tiger was searched right in Nearpod. Same with the number 20 and the letter A, that was all within Nearpod. The one with the cake, those ones I created with Canva, and then uploaded that image. So there are lots of different ways you can put together a matching. Okay, and I can see when you're done, so way to go, 100%. That's awesome. Okay, so matching ideas. Really anything can be matched. So term to definition, capital letter, to lowercase letter, number to the written word, English to Spanish or a different language. And I did it with pictures, so like a Spanish word of the tiger or the English translation to the other language. Equation to answer, picture for history, picture of a monument to the country it belongs to, president and their name. Really anything. I love matching. And I forgot to add the collab slide after this. So lots of ways you can match. I love it. Okay, 3 things you need to know in live teaching. So teaching a class just like what we're doing right now. You don't have to share your screen. You know, when we teach with Canva or Google Slides, we always have to share our screen so we can show the games or whatnot. But it's all on your device, so I don't have to share my screen at all. The Nearpod lesson link, I gave it to you as soon as class started, and which you should do every time. But I also, it's a good idea to give the lesson link before class starts as well. That way learners can log on and parents can help learners, especially for littler ones. They can help them click the link, type in their name, and log on so they're ready to go before class. And that just reduces time that you have to spend helping students log on. But your students, when they get more familiar with Nearpod and they know the drill, you're going to use Nearpod, once a week, every couple times, then they know exactly how they'll get familiar with going to the chat box at the beginning of class and logging on that way. But if they're not familiar with Nearpod, it's a good idea to do it before class. Hey, log on to this website. We're going to start in just a minute or 2, or maybe 10 minutes before class.
Can I ask a question about that?
Yes.
So, I have, so you're saying the kids have to open up OutSchool, of course, wherever they're learning, and then they would just open up a new window and then log into their Nearpod, right? That's kind of how that would work. And then the parents, obviously, because I teach littles, the parents would have to help them log on and do all those pieces, but they just have to open a new window, log into Nearpod, and then they'd be able to do that along with me, right?
Yeah, so they don't even have to open a new window. So if you, like the link I gave you, you just clicked on it right to Nearpod. So that's the link I give to students in a classroom message. So they just have to click on that link and it opens up in a new window with that type your name here, join lesson, and they're ready to go.
Okay. And during a live class, though, you can still talk to them and everything throughout school and go like
Yes.
with them through all the lessons, and you control the slides and everything. So do you have to
Yep.
put it in a certain mode on Nearpod in order for you to be able, I think there's two, right? There's one that's live and then the other one says like self-paced.
Yep, two different modes. So live is for live classing like we did. I clicked the live one. I am full control of the slides. I will move on, or the slides will move when I'm ready to move on and click that button to the next slide. You can also go back and jump slides as well. But students can't, they are on the slide you're on. And then with the link, so it's the same link, no matter if I give it to them before class starts or during class, because maybe some students, that they didn't see the message or didn't have time to log on, 5 minutes before class. And then that way, those students who did not log on, right as soon as class starts, I give them that link and tell them to join. And then as students are coming in, I can help those who need help before we start.
Okay. I think that, yeah, I think I'm going to have to play with it a little bit to figure it out, just because they're so little and I'm worried that parents will be like, no, that's too much,
Yeah. There is, I don't know if you grabbed it. I had a Nearpod guide for parents that just kind of, you can send with it. This is how you
Was
log
that in
on.
the movie that you sent like yesterday, or was that in another one?
So no, not yesterday. When you purchased this, it was kind of like an upsell. It was that $2.50 Nearpod guide.
Oh, okay. Yes, I remember that.
Okay, if you didn't grab it, I'll let you grab it.
Yes, I've got it.
Okay, perfect. So that way you can send that to parents as well, and it just kind of organizes or lays out. Click this link, log on, join, and you're good to go. Students don't need 2 devices to participate in a lesson. Are you just using one device?
Yes, I use one device.
Okay, so you can kind of see how this lesson works with one device, and whether or not like you can still see me as I'm talking and the lesson at the same time. That document kind of goes through how to split the screen. So if I don't know, computers are updated and people are savvy, they're able to kind of put me on one side, the lesson on the other side. But if that doesn't happen, something I kind of like just keep in mind, I kind of assume students can't see me as I'm going through the lesson, because I don't know what they're seeing. Maybe their whole lesson is their whole computer screen. So I just kind of keep in mind. So I'm not like demonstrating anything. All of my teaching is inside the Nearpod lesson with videos or whatnot. So I'm not like showing a whiteboard because I don't know if students can see me. Some can, some can't. And I always like to ask too. That helps. Just can you see me? And they'll tell you. So I do like to keep that in mind. Because they don't need 2 devices. They can just participate on whatever device they're taking class on. And could be even an iPad.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, good question. Okay, so those were the 5 things. Now I'm going to share my screen. Oh, okay, we're going to end this lesson, I guess, because I can't start 2 at the same time. Okay, let me share my screen so now we can jump into what the teachers are seeing. We won't take so long to go through the lessons again, but there are options to different for different ones. I want this one. Okay. Can you see my screen? It should be that last slide we were on. The 3 things you need to know.
Yes, I can see it.
Okay. I'm going to end. So that's going to end that lesson on your side. We're going to go back into it because there are live participation. Oh, there was that student. I'll get to that. We'll get to that. But there was that other option. Okay, so here, as we go through each of these 5 elements again, I just want to see or show you what you have options for teacher-wise. So on these slides, I see exactly what the student saw. This is exactly what you saw. I can move it around. And I like they do this because I can, for describing this or whatnot, I can see exactly what my students are seeing, but they move it themselves. I'm moving it. It does not move it for my students. That's on them. So you have to, like I said, or move it with your finger. You can move this turtle with your finger or your mouse. Just click and drag. Okay. Down here at the bottom, you have this slide option. If I click up, I have access to all of my slides. So I can skip through some slides. We're going to go to this video next. So I'm going to click on it, click share, and now my students are going to see this one. So this video, you only have to worry about it if you are using videos in live classes. You have 2 options. Teacher plays the video on their device, or the student plays it on their device. I clicked student plays it on their own device. So you were able to click the play button and answer the questions. And then click that continue button. This teacher option, that puts the video up on my screen, and then the students answer the questions on their screen. This one, great option to use, but what comes with this in online teaching, you have to remember to share the sound on your computer. So that's an extra button to push on in Zoom to make sure you're sharing that sound. And again, with live classes, like, you just have to make sure your students can see then your screen. So especially with littler ones, I just recommend you use student plays and watches it on their screen at their pace and answer the questions. And then click continue. You can see the video. Let me hide this. And you can see question responses. So each of these little dots, that's where I had a question. So if I click on this.
A little bit about me.
We want this one. There we are. So I started a new lesson. Otherwise, you would see all of your students' responses right here. So this one was, you were typing the answer. You would see all of their responses here, what their student, what they answered, and if you had 100% students answer or not. And then that last question we had was multiple choice. Then you get a graph. You can see how many answered correctly. And we'll show you this little graph. Okay, so there's our live video. And I'll show you in a little bit, but you have all access to all that data. And as a self-paced too, there's a way you can go back to look at it. Okay, the collaborate board. Teachers get to see exactly what you saw. And I can share my thoughts as well. And my thoughts will pop up here for all students to see as well. And then I really love how you get to see everything, because then you get this little, like, I know exactly if my students, like you, I'm hitting GIF, but I don't want to go through all these options. Oh, wait, there's a search bar up here. I know exactly where to tell students to go if they have questions on how to do something. I've had to, I think just for littlers for you, if they share a thought, or maybe, type in a word that has a vowel pattern, or type in a word that has a vowel of A, cat or whatnot. And then I've just had sometimes just to remind students, oh, you got to hit that send button or enter on your computer to have that pop up. Okay, sometimes, actually all the time, when you have directions written up here, instructions, you saw that they were here, but you can hide them because they do kind of take up some of your screen. And depending on how big your student screen is, if it's an iPad or Chromebook where the screen's a little smaller, it does take up quite a bit of space here. So you can tell students that there's an instruction button off to the left. If I click it, it will hide those instructions and give them some more room to work with. Okay, a couple options for a collaborate board. You can, up here at student options, you can toggle this on or off if you want students to see names of other students, if you want them to be able to edit responses. I usually don't touch any of these. One is approve student posts. I have this one off as well, but if you turn it on, then when students type something, I don't know if it will show it for me. It won't show up for me, but it will show here. It will be light blue and you have to accept it. So students can't see what they're writing until you hit an accept button. That will be down here, just like a green check mark. So for littlers, I would not worry about that, but maybe for older students or whatnot, you can kind of have that filter where you can see the post first before all the other students see it. Okay, time to climb. This one, there are a lot of different options for backgrounds. So the characters stay the same, but the background can change. And I like to kind of, whatever I'm talking about it, or if it works with the theme, use that for my theme. So, you're going to go to space for one of your classes, play an I Spy game with space. You can have a time to climb there where it's also themed of space. So it's kind of fun just to have these different options. Here, I don't touch, actually I do touch this one. So this, by default, this is what it is. Randomized questions, pause between questions. These are all off. And then play sound on all student devices. Were you able to hear sound on when you played the game?
Yes.
Okay. Perfect. So I left that one on, and that way you were able to hear the sound. If I turned that off, then no students would hear any sound. So I just keep that one on. Sometimes I've seen you can hear the sound playing in the background for students, but it just depends. Like I didn't hear it at all. So just if you ever hear like an echo or a lot of that sound playing, then you can know, oh, if I just turn it off, that won't be distracting or loud or whatnot. Okay, and then click continue. And then this is where students now pop in their character. And then it's very important, this start game button. Too many times I click this next arrow to move along the game, but it goes to the next slide and then you have to go back and students have to join all over again. So that start game button is the one you need right here. Students join in. Okay. And then we have our draw it. Let's do that collaborate board, draw it. Our last one. Oh, we just have matching. Okay. So this one is where you will see all student responses. So this is my main slide. I know what you're seeing, but then when you started drawing, a slide that looked just like this one popped up. It had your name on it, and I could see you drew with green, the green pen. So that will pop up for all of your students. And your students cannot see what others are drawing. And sometimes I like to mention that, like, I can see what you're drawing, but other students can't, in case, students are, I don't want everyone to know maybe I'm not comfortable or I think I might get it wrong. That way they know only I can see it and not any other students. You can, I can't jump in fast enough, but if you wanted to, you can share student work. So there will be like a share button. And if I click that share button, then everyone can see it. So if you want to just highlight students' work and show off to other people, they're really cool pictures they drew. You can click that share button and then all students can see it. Okay, so on a couple different ones, on a different activities, there are a teacher button and then there's a student button. So if I click this student button, I can now see exactly what students are seeing. So if some student has a question, how do I draw? How do I, do all this? How can I add text? I can switch to that student button. I know exactly what they're seeing. Because I do, especially if I don't remember to hide the instructions if you don't want them there. There are some students where like, I can't see the whole picture. Oh, wait a second. If you can't see the whole picture, it's probably because the instructions are in the way. So you just have to tell students to hide them. And then you can exactly tell your students, there's a pen tool. You can click on the pen tool. It's right next to that arrow. And if you click on it, you can change your color to whatever you want. And there's a highlighter, the eraser, text. They can add shapes. Oh, and the shape. And then if they want, probably not for littlers, but older students, if they want more, they can click on that 3 dots and they have options to add a video and a GIF. So lots of different ways you can answer. Okay, but I love this one because I can see exactly what all the students are writing. Okay, then we have matching. There it is. Okay, and then matching is the same way. I have my teacher view and student view. So student, I can now see exactly what the slides are, what we're matching. And I like to click on it to kind of remind myself what my students are matching. And then, like I explained to you, click on, the small letter A, and then click on what you think matches it. If it turns green, you're good to go. You got it matched. If it's red, you can try again. And then teacher, it always defaults to teacher view. You will see students' names in your class who's in your lesson. You can see their matches they have. There were 6 matches in this game, so it's a fraction. This student got 4 out of 6 matches so far. Student Sally, there are 5 out of 6 matches, so I know she's almost done. And then tries, this will show you how many tries it took them to get all of the matches. So you can see if, there are 20 tries, your students are just clicking buttons. They're not really trying to match it. So I can help that student out and, okay, let's, pick one and I'll help you find the match. 5 times 4. Okay, let's solve that. And I can help them find the match. Usually that doesn't happen. I have not had experience where students are just kind of clicking. Sometimes at this matching part, I do have students just give me a thumbs up when they're done because there might be a little lag time of when they're done and by the time I actually see that they got all the matches. So I just say, hey, give me a quick thumbs up when you are done. Okay, that was all 5 elements. Yep. Okay, any questions on what you see as a teacher, or how to use it so far?
No, I think it's going to take some just playing around with and stuff with all of the different, like, especially the game. I've never played Time to Climb with my students, so that's going to be one that I really want to try first. I think they're going to enjoy that one the most because they're so
Mhm.
small. But for the teacher view, I think it's just going to be a matter of getting in there and like really playing with it a little bit to see the responses, to see things like that. So
Yeah, yep. And it's super easy. This Nearpod is super easy. I love how it's just laid out really clear to see. I definitely recommend, yep, Time to Climb. I'm excited to hear how that goes. And one thing that's really fun is, let's see, I'm done, is to use kind of the same questions. Like if you created a matching game, you use those same questions in your Time to Climb in the same lesson. So they're kind of getting the same questions, maybe same practice twice, but in a different setting. So like one's a matching game, the other one is Time to Climb. Okay, and just kind of explore Nearpod. I think you're really going to like this. So there are two buttons over here off to the side. I'm going to talk about the reports and the Nearpod library. Reports, this is where you can go in and kind of check all how your students did on the session. So here's this session. Click that drop down menu. I can see how many times we taught it. And if I click on, let's see, this, I think that's the one we just did. Oh, let's see if this one has answers. I don't use this button too much for live classes because the data, you are getting the same data that we're going to see here in live classes. But for self-paced classes, this is an amazing because you can see how your students are doing, whether or not you need to go back. Awesome. So we see all of my students' names, our participation. That means they answered everything. They answered all the video questions and they answered all the Time to Climb questions. So I can see you fully participated in my lesson. And then for the student reports, I can see what you answered. So super helpful for self-paced classes, just to kind of check up on your students, make sure they're getting what you're teaching so you can do our teacher thing to reflect and change or whatnot. So this data is super helpful. I can see everything. Okay, and then our Nearpod library. Oh, I should have just clicked it. This one, inside of Nearpod, there are ready-made lessons for you to use. So let's search grade. Kindergarten to second, right? So I'll click first.
mostly K1.
Okay, so K1. So I clicked a good one, first grade. So here's our first grade. And then I can, where's my filter button? First grade Nearpod library. Oh, there it goes. Okay, just had to make my screen a little bigger. Filtered by standard. I can, choose that. I can choose a subject, choose a grade, first grade, and then all strands. We just want this one. And then here are ready-made lessons you can use that are inside of Nearpod. And you can edit them, change them to really fit what your students need. These are all activities, and then up here we have just lessons to demonstrate here, and you can click this preview button, and you can see all of the slides they use and how they teach it. If that's going to work for your class, maybe you might explain it different and you want to change something. And you can also see, even if you don't use these lessons, to kind of see how they use the activities as well. So here's that draw it slide, and they are circling the nouns in the sentence. So this is created with Canva or Google Slides. and then uploaded, and so they can have that activity. So, and if you want to use a lesson, just add to my lessons, and then it will show up in your Nearpod library, which is
Can I
this
ask
right
a
here.
question about that real quick?
Yes.
So you said you use Canva or Google Slides or something to create slides, and then, sorry, you can upload those to Nearpod.
Yes, yes, absolutely. So my slides, let's go into edit. Okay. All the slides you saw in my lesson, I created in Canva and uploaded to here. These are all created in Canva, and I just uploaded them. I love doing it that way because I, can do it exactly how I want it. So yep, everything in Canva. In Canva, I use the presentation 3-4. That's the slide that will fit in Nearpod, that size. Presentation 3-4.
3, 4, 3
Yep.
dot, and then 4.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, that one. 3:4. Let's create a lesson. We're going to add new right here, and then add new slides, and then I can upload. Let's see. I can upload. No, that will just, so this is just a regular one. That's not the one I wanted. All right, here it is. It's an image. An image, add, and then that's where you're going to upload from your computer. Choose that image from your computer and ta-da, open, and you have your own slide. That matching game, if you create your own matching slides, that one I use the Instagram post square size, and that fits perfectly into that matching square, and it will fill up that whole square, I don't know what that is, a square. So that Instagram post size, and then this is 3-4.
Okay.
Okay. Let's see. I think that's okay. Before I move on, any questions on how to add? All the things I added, I won't go in and add all of them, but new lesson, and this is where all of those features are. You can see there's so many more that then I covered. Like you have fill in the break, fill in the blank, a memory test, which is like the true matching. You are matching the exact same thing. So if it's cat, you have to find the same word cat. We did matching where you could do word to definition, change it up. And then here are the other ones I added in the collaborate board, and I didn't use any of these ones. There's a poll you can do, an open-ended question where students can absolutely just type their own answer. And then a flip is like a video answer. That would be good for self-paced class. So super, super easy. Okay, any questions so far?
Nope, I think we're good.
Okay, the next thing we're going to do is that self-paced link. Oh, maybe I'll just use a different one. Saving. Oh, there we go. Okay, so we're going to hit that teach button. Live participation. This is where I got my link for you. And I just click this copy link right here. If students are using a second device, I do give them those instructions. They can either go to join.nearpod.com, and this is like in that message before class, because I don't know if they're going to use the same device, or maybe they do have a second device they want to use. So I do both. You can go to here or download the free Nearpod app, type in this code, or click this link which it will be copied, and join it right there. You're in. So I do both.
I have one quick question on that. So, and I'm
Yes.
pretty sure I know the answer, but just to clarify, because you use it, the students do not actually have to have a Nearpod account in order to use Nearpod, right? That's the kind of the glory of Nearpod is they can just go into the link and then put in your code, right?
Yes, that is
Okay.
correct. Yep. Okay, we'll go back. And then the self-paced option. Teach or student paced. So this one, I get the same information, same link. And then this is what's different. So your link is valid from, so as soon as it passed, this date, they can't answer any or can't access this lesson anymore. And you can change this date for up to be valid for up to a year. And then just click that end date, apply changes. So now this link for my class will be valid from June to November. That way I can set my, my self-paced class is valid for this year. That way students enroll or whatnot at any time, the link's ready to go. And then just set a reminder, maybe in my phone, to then update that link a year from now. I've also, because self-paced classes are so long, then you can set it as long as your class is. So if your class, is a course 2 months long, this link is only valid for 2 months, and then it will be invalid anymore. And you'll have to get, when you start a new one, that won't work. But with self-paced classes, because they changed it, I don't know. I just will set it for a year for that one. Okay, and then this one always default is on, and I just leave it on, that I want students to answer everything and they can't skip questions or slides. So that's on, but by default it's on, so you don't have to worry about that. Okay, any questions? I think I got everything I wanted to talk about.
I don't think so. Still thinking.
Okay. Oh, you're good. That was like a lot. So I just really want like the ideas to start flowing. So here's Nearpod. He's really cool. And I hope I gave you a lot of ideas to get your juices flowing of, okay, I could use this for my class. This is how I can use it.
Yeah, definitely. I think I have a lot of good things to do next and next steps, but I can see how this would definitely work for my live classes. I don't do self-paced classes yet, or are they called Flex now? I don't remember. But I'm kind of thinking about it. So, it's just good to know all of the things right now. But if there's other tools also, if you do this again, I would love to learn some of the other tools as well.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Oh, that's exciting because I do have plans for like Google Slides workshop, Canva workshop, Games workshop. I love it.
Yes, and I would definitely be loving some Canva workshops because I feel like I'm not great with graphic design of any kind. So Canva really helps me, but I don't know all the tips and tricks. And you've already, just watching some of your YouTube videos and stuff, you've shown me a lot. So it's been really helpful.
Oh, I'm so glad. You're making my day, Mia. That's my whole goal. Okay. And if you have any questions, like even after this, seriously, just send me an email or something, and I am happy to either troubleshoot, help you walk through an idea. I am all for that. Okay. Let's see this slide. So the 3 things maybe I've already said all this. But for those who watch the recording as well, when you teach self-paced classes, you can set it for as long as a year. You can record yourself. Oh, I didn't show you. Okay, you can record yourself speaking the instructions as well. So in that instruction box where you can hide it, there is an option that you can record yourself speaking the instructions. So another great way for self-paced classes. Live classes, I don't worry about that. Sometimes I even leave the instructions off live classes because if the instructions aren't there, that box does not drop down. And I'm giving the instructions anyway. You can add links to other sites right within your lesson. So links to, maybe this lesson, and then maybe you want to play a game on Kahoot or something, or you need to give your students a link to a passage or reading passage, all right within Nearpod. So they're not going to your Outschool post again. Okay, I got to find the link to this lesson and then come back to this to answer the question. It's all right in Nearpod. And then for my self-paced classes, I do record my videos. You could record it with Zoom, and then I upload it to YouTube. That way YouTube has all of that and not my computer, like the megabytes or bytes. It's not on my computer, it's on YouTube, so it's not taking up space that way. And then I can, from YouTube, search my video and then add in the questions right through Nearpod. Okay, and then I do want, oh, we did that one, to invite you to, or let you know of Gamify to Thrive. So this is my coaching program where I do dive into Nearpod and Google Slides and Canva and games. So easily teach engaging and interactive lessons that will get your students, raising their hand, ready to participate in your live classes, where you confidently use Google Slides, Canva, Nearpod to gamify your classroom, stand out as teacher, sell out your classes in 90 days, and you feel at peace with technology and smile ear to ear because your students are saying this is the best class ever. Okay, so Gamify to Thrive really is the only coaching program for online teachers that will help you utilize and confidently teach with these top 3 tools. These are the only 3 tools that I use and are amazing. There's so many free things out there, but with those freemiums, you only get so much space, and then you have to start paying for it, or you have so many things you can't really get good at all of them. So Google Slides, Canva, Nearpod, and games, I believe, are the only 3 sites that you need to get your whole engaging lesson. Okay, so inside my Gamify to Thrive program, I teach this exact strategy that I've used to go from teaching classes, with static slides, worksheets, because going from classroom teacher to online teacher, I kind of just pulled my materials. Oh, this is going to work in my online classroom, but it didn't, because online classroom is different, and it should be different. So all of the worksheets, static slides, 1 to 2 students, and opening up my schedule at random times a day to find all of my students, and they're just unenrolling because my lessons weren't that great. To now teaching classes 5 to 8 students. I have a set schedule, so I know I only teach these times of a day. I don't need to open up random classes to find more students, and that way I have the afternoon to go to the park with my kids, and my students are coming back for 6+ months. I really teach to retain your students, and your lesson is the way to do that, because we want your students to come back. It's much easier to get your students to come back week after week, month after month, than to find new students every day. So we do this without spending hours lesson planning, spending that time while they're sleeping. I don't market my classes on social media, and we definitely don't want to burn out teaching live classes scattered throughout the day. So this is for you if you are an Outschool or online teacher and you're ready to go beyond the standard slide presentation, the lecture lessons where you're talking at your students in the worksheets, and you're ready to fully use Google Slides, Canva, Nearpod, and games to create engaging and interactive lessons that stand out. Bring in those raving 5-star reviews that will help you'll build that snowball effect. More students are going to sign up to your classes. And I love that as online teachers, we can impact thousands of students around the world while teaching from home. Okay, so you may have one of these, either teaching classes 1 to 2 students who don't see, or so who you might not see ever again after 2 to 3 weeks. You're creating and teaching lessons that look like every other online teacher's lessons with the slides, the worksheets, and talking and lecturing on the Zoom whiteboard. Or you're probably ready to use technology, but you're not sure where to even begin and what tools to use to create engaging and interactive lessons that will have your students saying, wait, class is over already? That went by so fast. Okay, so imagine if you could teach a set schedule hours of when you wanted to teach, so you had time to blow bubbles in the backyard, have dance parties with your kids, because we chose online teaching so we could live and be home with our kids. And we don't want to burn out trying to constantly find new students. I know that's one reason I left the classroom when I had my second child, is because I wanted to stay home. But I also love teaching. So I found online teaching was just amazing. So we want to be able to still make an impact, but not wear ourselves out. You want your students to be engaged, participating in your lesson from start to finish with their hand up. And they're ready to answer questions because you took them to that virtual field trip space, or field trip, that virtual space field trip. Really cool places that they might not ever go, places I won't ever go, but we can still bring them to our students and help them use that real world application to what we're teaching. And be awesome if we can cut our lesson planning to just a few minutes of lesson prep as we gather materials from our growing library of games that wow students and make learning with you so much fun, because your classes are super fun and you're able to build relationships with your students because they like to come back. Okay, so success. We have lots of success all over. So I had Ashley's gone through my Gamify to Thrive course, your reading tutor. She also teaches reading. And she loved it. So she said her videos in my program are so short, step by step, and easy to follow. And she makes it easy how to figure out how to create the fun games using technology. And we have a parent review, and so my daughter enjoys Miss Natalie's class because the games keep her interested, engaged, which has led her being confident with multiplication at school, which is our ultimate goal. We want students to be confident with what we're teaching. And then my favorite student comment, this student was awesome. And she said, if this class lasted for 8 hours, I'd be there, not bored at all. Loved it. Okay, so inside Gamify to Thrive. What is inside? So you get instant access to Gamify to Thrive. And then my 3-part lesson formula. So we kind of touched on that. We got the bones, the hook, the theme, diversify, and gamify. So I dive more into that. And then we level up with Google Slides and level up with Canva. And these here's how kind of the basics to the more advanced. How can we use Google Slides to create those lessons, those engaging lessons with drag and drop features, all those tips and tricks. And then both games with Google Slides and Canva, how to create personalized and customized games for your students, board games, matching games. I've created like a battleship game, the unfair game. I really like talking about that one. I've created similar versions, so you get to know how to do all of this. Plus, I think it's in a couple slides, you get the templates as well to save you time. but I do show you how to do it so you can fully customize it to fit your students. And then we do dive into Nearpod and how to create and use Nearpod in your live and self-paced classes. We really dive into that and all the features of Nearpod. And then to gamify, there are really fun game sites that I like to use with my students. I have 3 main ones I go to, Kahoot, BlueKit, GameKit. I really dive into those and how to use them and different ways to use them. And inside, we also get 12 weekly coach calls. It's a 3-month program, so a weekly coaching call every week for live feedback on what you are working. We really dive into ideas for you, how to use it in your classroom, and with what we're learning. So if we're using Google Slides this week, what can we create with Google Slides that's going to work for your classroom? And then I'll answer all your questions and help for that specific class you're teaching. And then a private community where you ask a question anytime. Let's troubleshoot, let's answer questions, let's get ideas inside this group. So I can answer and other teachers inside as well. And then of course, lifetime access and any updates to the course, you will get those updates as well. Okay, and then also you will, with all of that, save time from spending hours of searching from tutorials and doing, then you're able to do more things you love because you're spending less time searching for all of this. Is just right at your fingertips, exactly what you and online teachers need, what works in the online classroom. And your students will love your class. They'll be engaged and interactive and have so much fun that they'll come back week after week and you'll fill up your classes. Okay, and there is a bonus inside. It's a virtual field trip. How to create a virtual field trip. Here's a virtual field trip with Google Slides or Canva, so we can really kind of immerse our students in the world and bring that real world learning into our classroom. And then of course, game templates, they're ready to edit. Any lesson slide templates I have to really make lesson slides interactive, those templates are in there as well to really save you time. Okay, and then Gamify to Thrive is a 90-day program, so 3-month program. And right now, if you join before Wednesday, it's 6 payments of $200, or 3 payments of $350, or 1 payment of $997. So we get that $500 off. And you'll get 3 bonus coaching calls with myself to really talk one-on-one with your classroom and what's working with your students, what can we change, how can we make this more engaging to really stand out. So I love Gamify to Thrive and put a lot of work and heart and sweat into it because I am just passionate about using technology and helping teachers use technology to create those interactive lessons so we can impact thousands of students. Awesome. Okay, that's all I have. Let me stop presenting. Any last questions for me about anything? Nearpod, teaching, Gamify to Thrive.
No, I think I'm good, but thank you so much.
Awesome, Mia. Keep me updated on how your space lesson goes with your students. I'm excited to hear how it goes. And again, if you have any questions, just shoot me email or DM me.
Okay, will do. Thank you so much again, Natalie. I really appreciate it.
You're so welcome, Mia. Have a great day.
You too. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.